So the first question we were asked, is there a difference between poor judgment and committing an unethical act? My initial reaction was yes, there is a difference, and that difference comes down to intent. I think that you can intend to do what's best for an organization or make a decision that you intend to be ethical, but in the end, it's not. And to me, that's just that came down to poor judgment, opposed to knowingly and willfully making an unethical decision. In the end, it doesn't change the outcome or the consequences of the action. Whether you show bad judgment by making a decision, the repercussions should be the same if you willfully make an unethical decision because you're either an unethical leader or you just happen to decide to act that way in that time. Intent should not change the end result of the decision, but initially to me it made a difference with how the decision was made. Another thing that I was thinking about this is that the difference between bad judgment and an unethical decision could come down to an experience. A brand new, inexperienced manager may not use sound judgment at all times. It doesn't mean that they're necessarily unethical. They just may or may not know better. Whereas an experienced manager that goes ahead and makes the same decision, likely they're just acting unethically because they have the experience. They know how to use good judgment. And in this case, if they do make an unethical decision, they made that willfully, and they would have to face the consequences for that. Post-reading reaction, after reading it, I decided that there was no actual difference, that the unethical act could have been the result of a blind spot. We learned that this week, that it's almost a lack of awareness for the decision that they're making. That just because it's made in non-good judgment, in the end it's still an unethical decision. But it doesn't mean necessarily that they did it on purpose, and it could have been the result of a blind spot. Also, I think intent can vary, but again, it doesn't change the end result. That managers, when they're making decisions, what they intend doesn't necessarily always end up being the final case. And the last part I wrote, a certain awareness factor or lack thereof may be the cause of a blind spot. So again, they just may not be aware of what they're doing. There could be various work stressors, influences, and again, inexperience that could be leading them to make that decision.